Okay, everybody. So we are live right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I thought I'd do this live stream a little bit differently. We're going to try something a little bit more formal with a bit of data and information for you guys to read as we go through it. I'm just going to log into this live streams from my phone so I can follow along with you guys. And if anybody does have questions along the way, please feel free to drop them into the comments. As always, I'll try to take a couple of your questions here at the end if there are things that we don't answer during the live stream itself. So we are just going to give it a minute for some people to join. Today's live stream is focused on the latest Express Entry draw results. That's Express Entry draw 157, just took place a few minutes ago. So if you do have questions, drop those questions into the live stream. Otherwise, hang tight with me. We're going to give it about another minute for some people to join. In the meantime, I'm wondering, got a question for you guys today. Let us know if you are planning to move to Canada. We're curious about where it is that you want to live. What's your dream destination in Canada? Where are you hoping to set up shop once you arrive here? If everybody says Toronto, I'm going to be a little bit peeved. So I know Toronto is the most popular destination for newcomers, but y'all can be a little bit more inventive than that, I think. So yeah, drop into the comments. Let me know what your dream destination is in Canada. I'm going to talk through a few of those, a few of your answers as we go through the video. But I think that's pretty good. I think we got about 40 people tuned in here. So let's hop right into the Express Entry draw results from today. So as part of today's video, I'm actually going to scroll through the draw results on the Moving in Canada website. So for those of you who aren't familiar, we always update our website with the latest Express Entry draw results within minutes of the draw happening. So if you do want to be one of the first people to find out about the draw, you can follow along on our website here. It's movingtocanada.com. You can see the URL up there in the corner for the Express Entry draw results. But as mentioned, today's Express Entry draw just took place a few minutes ago. It was restricted. Once again, we saw another program restricted draw take place today. This draw was restricted to candidates in the Canadian Experience class of Express Entry. This is sort of what we were expecting. Yesterday's draw was restricted to PNP candidates. And throughout all of COVID, except for that last draw on July 8th, we saw a PNP restricted draw followed 24 hours later by a CEC restricted draw. So this isn't a big surprise. What was a big surprise in this week's draw was actually the CRS score cutoff. So we saw more than 3,000 ITAs issued, 3,343 invitations to apply issued, but the CRS score cutoff for this draw was 445 points. Now, that's a 14-point increase between the draw that we saw, the last CEC specific draw, which was 4 weeks ago, and this one. The last one was 431 points. This one is 445. That's a 14-point boost. It's a pretty substantial jump in the CRS score cutoff. And so we just had a quick little chat, our team here at Moving to Canada, to discuss some of the reasons why this draw may have increased the CRS score cutoff by such a substantial threshold. And the things that we were discussing were two possibilities. One is that Canadian language testing centers have been gradually reopening as Canada sort of gets back to normal life. The spread of COVID-19 is sort of under control in Canada. We've had, limited outbreaks, mostly within the major city centers here in the country, and a few other examples. And so language testing has been resuming. We're thinking that maybe there was sort of a backlog of CEC candidates who are waiting to get their language test results, who hadn't been able to get those results. We think that maybe those people have started receiving their results and therefore they've sort of flooded into the pool and bumped up that CRS score cutoff threshold. Another possibility is that people have actually been improving their CRS scores throughout the pandemic. One easy way that this can happen is by people accruing more Canadian work experience. So if you move from 1 year of Canadian work experience to 2 years, or from 2 years to 3 years, you do add more points to your profile. So it's also possible that people have been improving their scores in that way. And so we have seen that threshold increase. The other big factor here is the time between draws. 4 weeks have passed between the last CEC specific draw and this one. That's much longer than a usual 2-week period. Therefore, more people are able to create profiles, improve their scores, etc. And so it's not uncommon if there's a larger gap between draws that there will be an increase in the CRS score cutoff threshold. Great. So this was the second draw this week. Yesterday we had a draw for provincial nominees. And as you'll see on our website here, if you go onto the Express Entry draw page, you can subscribe to our newsletter. Right here, all you have to do is put in your email address. Super simple. Stick in your email address there, and we will actually email you when the draws happen. You don't have to worry about figuring it out on your own, refreshing the IRCC page, anything like that. We will email you. We sent that email probably, I think I sent it 40 minutes ago. So, you'll be one of the first people to find out about the draw, and it's very little work on your part. So you can put that in there. The other big question that we've had, both in terms of yesterday's draw and today's draw, is will IRCC be returning to FSW draws? Why have they stopped FSW draws or all program draws? We saw a return on July 8th, and it's a little bit frustrating for a lot of people that they've now gone back to these program restricted draws. The truthful answer, and you'll see it here on our website, is that we really don't know when IRCC will return to just all program draws all the time. This return, or this sort of flipping between the program specific draws and the all program draws, suggests that IRCC is taking a little bit of a flexible approach, a little bit of like a hybrid model to their express entry policy within COVID. They're not going to go fully back to normal. They're not ready to do that yet. They're going to kind of oscillate and manage. As we mentioned here, IRCC has limited a lot of draws to CEC and PNP candidates throughout the pandemic because, well, for CEC, most of those candidates are in Canada. 90% approximately of CEC candidates are in Canada. For PNPs, a lot of PNP candidates are also in Canada, but there's also a sort of obligation that the federal government makes to the provinces to allow them to have this allocation of new immigrants through provincial nominee programs on an annual basis. It's a bit challenging for the federal government to break their obligations to the provinces, so they do kind of have to adhere to the provincial nominee allocations and allow those provinces to continue processing immigrants. So that's why we see these PNP restricted draws as well. So we've got a bit of analysis here. On this page as well, we know that a lot of people are asking how COVID impacts express entry. Is Canada still issuing express entry invitations? You'll see some questions here. Is Canada processing applications? What if I can't get the documents for my PR application? What if I have my COPR and I need to travel to Canada? All of these sorts of questions we've got answered here on our express entry draw page. So check that out if you're looking for answers there. And I see a couple questions coming in. I'm going to jump over and answer a couple of your questions here at the end. You'll also see we've got our breakdown of the CRS score distribution of candidates. Interestingly, I updated this table. It's from July 19th, the latest data here. We have actually seen the number of candidates in the pool decrease slightly, but it mostly comes from decreases in the lower numbers of CRS scores. So CRS scores between like 300 and 400. Once we get into that more competitive range, there were actually increases in the numbers of people who had been entering in the pool between the last draw and this one, or the draw on July 8th and this one. So check that out. So just a ton of useful data here on our Express Entry draw page. Again, check it out for full information. The Express Entry year-end report came out last month. We published a whole bunch of articles on, which occupations are the most successful, which invitations or which programs are receiving the most invitations, which citizens of which countries are succeeding the most. So just a ton of useful information there. So I really, really strongly encourage you to check out this page on our website if you haven't checked that out before. There's a lot of useful info. The last thing I'm going to point out here, just before I get to your questions, is some of the other added benefits that you can get here from moving to Canada. As you'll see up in the corner here, the Register for More button. If you click this button, it allows you to create a Moving to Canada account. This account is totally free. It only takes a minute to make, and it gives you access to a ton of free resources that we offer to our account holders. Our Getting Started guide. We've got a free Canadian resume template. If you're looking to find a job in Canada, we have a template that you can use to craft your resume by Canadian standards. We've got Express Entry roadmaps. This is a free email education service that will teach you all the foundations of Express Entry. So all of that stuff is there. All you have to do is create this account. Like I said, you can do it on the Moving to Canada website. And I see my colleague actually dropped the link into the live stream comment thread, so you can click it there as well. Great. So let's close that and get to a couple of your questions coming in here. So I see Alex is letting us know that he or she or they are hoping to move to Vancouver. Alex says their girlfriend is ready to submit the profile, but the only thing holding me back is the university transcript and Wes. They still don't have anyone operating the site to get the documents to Wes. Are there any alternate suggestions? So unfortunately, if the document centers are closed, there's not much you can do at this point in time. What I can tell you is that there are other ECA providers out there. There are, I believe, 5 or 6 for the general population, and then there's a couple specific ones for pharmacists and doctors and that sort of thing. So you could look into the other ECA issuing organizations and see if any of their operations are back up and running. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people in your position right now who are just waiting for document centers to get back open, whether it's language testing, places where they can do biometrics, places where they can get their ECA report. I don't have a workaround on that for you. It is a vital part of the Express Entry profile, unless you're applying through CEC, in which case you don't necessarily need education. But yeah, sorry, Alex, not a ton of great news for you there. George is saying, I wasn't able to answer the question on the Instagram live video I did a few minutes ago. If you ask your question here, George, you have to repeat it. I don't remember it from the Instagram video. Ask it and I'll try to get to it. Maria's asking about a specific score. So is 465 a good enough CRS score to get an invitation to apply this year? We can't answer that question. It depends on how IRCC approaches the rest of the year. If they were to return to all program draws for the rest of the year, the last round we saw the CRS score up at 478. So 465, if they return to all program draws for the rest of the year, it's possible. It's possible that it could drop down to that level, but I can't say for sure, and that's on the basis that they return to all program draws. So I would definitely look into options for improving your CRS score, as well as maybe some alternatives to Express Entry. And again, I'll head back to the Moving to Canada website here. If you see in the menu, head to our Express Entry section, and we've got a whole section on how to improve your CRS score, and a whole section on Express Entry alternatives. So, I mean, this is a really extensive article. We have some fast options outlined, as well as slower options. And then we also have a whole bunch of alternatives for Express Entry outlined on this page. So they're both really valuable resources here. Check those out, and you might be able to find a way to improve your score or an alternative immigration option. Dun, da, da, da. Aman is saying, You mentioned that your trusted legal source that said that FSW will return this summer. I mean, Arman, so FSW draws did return. They have returned. Uh, our source never said that they're going to return to all program draws consistently. They just said that they are hoping to invite FSW candidates this summer, which that did happen the following day. Again, I can't confirm whether or not that's going to continue through the rest of the summer, or whether or not that will become a consistent thing like it was pre-COVID. Okay. Ahmad's asking, I raised a case-specific inquiry 3 weeks ago. I already submitted a PR application and I got married meanwhile. Okay, so if your marital status changes after you've submitted your PR application, you're obligated to let IRCC know by submitting a case-specific inquiry or a web form, which you have done. That's all you need to do. They are backed up, so if you haven't heard from them yet, it's only been 3 weeks, so that's not abnormal, especially considering the times that we're living in right now. So you've done what you were supposed to do. I wouldn't worry too much at this point. Great. Okay. And again, a couple people asking if IRCC is interested in FSW candidates. Ibrahim, Arman. Evidently they are. We saw the draw on July 8th, so they are interested in FSW candidates. It's extenuating circumstances. I realize it's very frustrating for everyone involved, especially those of you who've already gone through all of the work of getting the documents, sitting your language tests, getting your transcripts, sending them to us, and that's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Of course, it's a big investment, and now you're just stuck in the pool and not seeing anything move. I wish that I would have the foresight to be able to answer your questions, tell you when it's going to return to normal. Unfortunately, it's an unprecedented situation. All public policy across Canada, not just in the field of immigration, is constantly evolving and being renegotiated in response to the spread of COVID-19. And unfortunately, this is the implication that it's having on immigration. I really wish that I had better news for you, but that's just the reality of where we're at right now. Great. So I think that I've gotten through all the questions that you folks were asking. So thank you again for tuning in. I'm going to take one last moment to plug our account feature on the Moving to Canada website. If you head onto our website, movingtocanada.com, you'll see this register for more button that allows you to create a free account with Moving to Canada. You get a ton of freebies here: our Getting Started guide, a free template for Canadian resumes, access to our immigration roadmaps. It just takes a minute, totally free, definitely worth your time. So head over there, make that account, and get started on or improve your Canadian immigration journey. Quick recap of the draw results for people who weren't tuned in at the beginning. Second Express Entry Draw of the week just took place a few minutes ago. Express Entry Draw number 157. It was limited to candidates in the Canadian Experience class of Express Entry. 3,343 invitations to apply were issued with a CRS score cutoff, which increased quite a bit from the last CEC-specific draw, up to 445 points. If you want to find out about the results of the next Express Entry Draw, we will, of course, be going live from our Facebook page. We go live on Instagram first, so you can follow us, Moving to Canada, on Instagram if you want to be the first to find out, or subscribe to our newsletter on the Moving to Canada website, and we will email you when the draw happens. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have more questions, tune in next time, or pop them in the comments. We'll try to answer a couple of them after the video. Congrats to those of you who received invitations to apply, and we will, of course, see you next time.